Welcome back to the NeoLiberal Round Podcast. We have an update regarding the John Anthony Castro federal tax charge case. As you know, John Anthony Castro had made his name by suing Donald Trump, saying that Donald Trump had violated Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
I'm so happy that you said that instead of saying that he was a Republican candidate for the nomination for president. I'm so happy you said that he was known for suing Donald Trump, because his nomination for the Republican ticket was never a serious candidate.
Well, that's why the courts threw out his case against Donald Trump, because they said, first of all, in order to sue Donald Trump regarding his candidacy on the basis of violating Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, you have to have standing. By that we mean you have to be a fellow candidate who's running who have some injury. So, however, what
injury?
Yes, injury. That injury is very important. When you file suit to somebody, you have to establish that their actions create some injury, okay, in terms of what you are doing. So, however, what the case he dismissed his case, saying that he's not a nominal candidate, or he's only running so that he can get standing to sue Donald Trump. So they're saying that his injury is not plausible, because he's not really suffering any injury. He's only running to sue Donald Trump. So they dismissed the case on the basis of that. But however, he did appeal the case. But soon after, we know he was indicted on federal tax charges, Mr. John Anthony Castro. I have not heard.
And he probably inflated his wealth.
Well, I mean,
he reminds me of what's the guy's name?
Well, I mean,
what's the guy's name in Congress who he was ousted by his peers?
The Republican who had was it George? Can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Reminds me. This is
a Republican candidate used federal campaign money. No, but the thing is, he was already a congressman, the gentleman you're alluding to.
Yes.
But he used it to do Botox surgery and so on and so forth. Okay. But there's John Anthony Castro barely got any money, so he never used campaign financing. Okay. What the federal tax charges was him falsifying tax credits, tax documents for his clients. Now, when I spoke, we interviewed John Castro, and he vehemently denied that he had done anything wrong. And
Doesn't everybody? Who actually says yes?
And when we spoke with we've been trying to get Mr. Castro, but we haven't been able to reach him. But when I spoke with him via text some time ago, and he responded about a month, because the hearing was on the 20th. But I think a month before that, I had reached out to him, and he said that the case was coming together perfectly. They had 6 years, and that they had 6 years to put their case together. We're talking about the federal government had 6 years to put their case together, and I only have 58 days left to prepare. But it keeps getting better every day. It's set for May 20th, no doubt. I'm going to win. And that was the last message I got from him. But I
would say that the silver lining in all of this is that I've actually decided to retire from the practice of tax law. Number one, I already built a software that does everything I used to do anyways. And number two is, honestly, I guess when you become, a sort of a target of the government, you realize how quickly they can try to take away everything, right? They would take me away from my wife, they would take me away from my children, and you start realizing, like, man, I think it's different, than some of our founding fathers. They already had adult kids, and that were away and are capable of, they didn't need their father to raise them at that point. But my kids are still really young, and so there's a lot to consider there. So it put life into perspective. So after this is all over, me and my wife talked about me taking a long break from politics, and I think our systems are developed enough to deal with the threat that who poses, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, though, I'm gonna keep a low profile. I'm gonna stay out of everything as far as I can see, probably in perpetuity, and I just want to do fruit farming and just kind of have a simple life again. So I'm thinking about staying permanently in retirement, and yeah, that's kind of my plans. I feel like I served my purpose. God called me to do what I did, to bring attention to it. I don't see the purpose now because everything seemed to have failed, but I trust that in the future I'm going to look back and it's all going to make sense. But for now, all we can do is try to understand God's will and mission is just to accept it for what it is. I always view it all is as God wills it. So we'll see how things turn out.
We have an update on the John Anthony Castro federal tax fraud case. In fact, earlier today we released an article on this particular issue, giving an update on John Anthony Castro. The title of the article, which is headlined in the NeoLiberal Journals at the NeoLiberal Corporation's More magazine at theneoliberal.com, the title is John Anthony Castro found guilty on all 33 counts on federal tax fraud. John Anthony Castro found guilty on all 33 counts on federal tax fraud, and the article reads the article reads that John Anthony Castro, president of AI Tax and the 2024 GOP U.S. presidential candidate, who notably sued Donald Trump, has been found guilty on all 33 counts related to federal tax fraud. Castro, a frequent guest on the NeoLiberal Round Podcast, had gained attention by suing Trump for violating Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. His legal challenges were discussed extensively on the podcast series, Castro v. Trump, where he was a key contributor. Now, according to Erin Dooley at the Media Affairs Office at the Texas Department of Justice, in a press release, stated that, and I quote, following a 5-day bench trial before senior U.S. District Judge Terry R. Means, he was convicted on all 33 counts of assisting in the preparation of a fraudulent return and was immediately taken into custody. That was according to a press release by the DOJ on Friday, May 24, 2024. You can see the link in the NeoLiberal.com in the NeoLiberal.com article, in the NeoLiberal Journals. Now, despite his high-profile legal battles or legal case against Mr. Trump, Castro's lawsuits in multiple states were largely dismissed. In January of 2024, he filed an appeal in Florida against Judge Eileen Cannon's decision to dismiss his case against Trump and sought her recusal from all cases involving Trump, citing bias. Concurrently, Castro was facing his own legal troubles, being indicted on federal tax fraud charges later that month, in January of 2024. Now, in the same January of 2024, the NeoLiberal Round Podcast released an episode featuring Mr. Castro, where he vehemently denied any wrongdoing related to the incident or the indictment. He explained the errors leading to the charges and stated that he had taken steps to correct them. Castro expressed confidence in his ability to clear his name and reiterated his commitment to his presidential campaign. On April 16, 2024, I contacted Mr. Castro and he provided an update maintaining his innocence and preparing and explaining that he was preparing for his May 20th hearing. He indicated plans to testify and expressed a desire to step away from politics afterward. And in fact, and said that he would probably consider doing some gardening because actually he loves to garden. However, on May 27th, or I should update that, it's actually it's not May 27th. I believe the ruling was on May 24th. Following the hearing, Castro was arrested and taken into custody. Now, the Texas State Department of Justice released details of the ruling, revealing that Castro, owner of the virtual tax preparation business, Castro and AI, which is AI Tax, and also a partner of Castro and Company, had falsely inflated client tax returns. Of course, the lawsuit is not against AI Tax or Castro and Company, but against Mr. Castro, and indicating that he had falsely inflated client tax returns. He was convicted on all 33 counts of assisting in the preparation of fraudulent returns. Castro now faced up to 99 years in federal prison, with each count carrying a potential 3-year sentence, which is quite hefty. That's quite an hefty case, and I believe that's quite a hefty. I hope that it's probably he'll get some probation, since it will be his first lawsuit, and what he has done, he has been doing over the years. But anyways, the article continues, or the statement continues by the DOJ office, indicating that evidence presented in courts, or in the court, demonstrated that between 2017 and 2019, Castro filed over 1,900 tax returns for clients worldwide, promising significantly higher returns by claiming fraudulent deductions. Undercover IRS agents and client testimonies revealed Castro's deceitful practices, including filing returns without client consent and making false deductions. Despite taking this stand in his defense, Castro admitted to extreme and unsupported legal positions, and vindictive actions against clients who challenged him. Many victims, taxpayers, have faced audits and significant financial hardship as a result. Now, the IRS Criminal Investigation conducted investigation, and the Assistant U.S. Attorney P.J. Mighty and Nancy Larson prosecuted the case. Erin Dooley is the Media Relations Officer at the DOJ, who provided the press release detailing the conviction and its implications. Now, we at the NeoLiberal Journal reached out to Erin Dooley at the DOJ Media Office for further comments and updates before releasing our story. Dooley responded via email, stating that the DOJ is not providing any additional updates on this case at this time. The NeoLiberal Journals will continue to monitor this story and provide updates as they become available. Now, of course, you can refer to the story, and we actually have provided references to this particular story, and you can see them by going to the neoliberal.com story entitled John Anthony Castro found guilty on all 33 counts of federal tax fraud. I'm Ronaldo McKenzie, the senior editor and content chief here at the NeoLiberal Corporation, and the producer and creator at the NeoLiberal Round Podcast. Please continue to support us by going to anchor.fm/neoliberal/support and visit our website at theneoliberal.com. Check out our store by going to store.theneoliberal.com, and we're talking about store.theneoliberal.com. This is the NeoLiberal Corporation. We're all about serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges by making popular what was the monopoly. And we empathize and sympathize for all the clients of Mr. Castro. In no way do we belittle whatever they have experienced as a result of whatever Mr. John Anthony Castro have been found guilty of doing, whatever he's found guilty of doing to them, which has created any kind of hardship. I hope that Mr. John Anthony Castro is He has maintained his innocence, and I just hope and pray that the matter will be resolved, and that whatever sentencing he receives will not be too harsh, and that the truth will prevail. I'm not sure if he's going to appeal the decision. I hope that I get an opportunity to speak with him. We continue to try and reach out to get a response from his team. This is the NeoLiberal Round Podcast. Please continue to support us and follow us.